We all know Lucas Paqueta is a very well sought after man in football. Of course, before the end of the transfer window, Pep Guardiola did try and sign him. We did try and put a few bids in for him. We told Pep and City that he's not for sale, that we didn't want to sell him. But of course, what did arise from that situation is clubs are now aware that he has an £85 million release clause in his contract. Obviously, this is very well reported by X and Fabrizio Romano. So, with that being said, it looks as though if a club wants him next summer, the price will be £85 million. But Newcastle, one of the clubs that are circling for him, and they apparently are going to prepare a bid of around £52 million, which, I mean, if we don't want to sell him and we don't force to sell him and his release clause is £85 million, it'd be kind of weird for us to accept a deal of that sort of nature. And, if we don't want to sell him and they try and sign him for £52 million, then realistically, you're telling me that from when he went from Lyon to West Ham, his value's only increased by around £7 million. And I don't think that's true at all. I think he absolutely blew the stages off in France and in the European competitions. He's now come to West Ham. He's had a full season in the Premier League. He's got to grips with the Premier League. Now won the Conference League with West Ham United as well. I mean, how that doesn't add a little bit of extra, cash flow onto his price tag, I'm not sure. So, I think it's quite insulting, Newcastle's supposed offer. Obviously, they haven't actually put an offer in just yet, but they will be going up against the likes of Manchester City. I do believe that next summer, City will put in a concrete bid for Lucas Paqueta. Obviously, I think Mark's going to go more in depth in the situation, especially with the relationship between Pep and Paqueta. I don't know if you saw, but obviously when we played City, Pep did sort of pull Paqueta aside and sort of like whisper something in his ear, and he looks to be having a good relationship. And obviously, you can't blame Paqueta for wanting to come to a club like Manchester City. I mean, they're the best team in the country by a mile. They've just won the treble. They're probably one of the best teams in the world. Currently, Guardiola is probably the best manager in the world. I mean, you're playing with Haaland, De Bruyne, Jeremy Doku, Gvardiol, Stones, Rodri. I mean, come on, this is an absolute super team. So, for anyone to be annoyed at Paqueta for having his head turned, I think, you need to sort of reevaluate. We are West Ham, and that's not disrespectful to us at all, because, every club has to play, within their own rights, so I'd love to challenge for the Premier League, but that we're not that club, and who knows if we'll ever be that club. But we're not that club. We're not in that level. So if Real Madrid or Man City or whoever comes in, even I think Liverpool at this stage, like if Liverpool came with Jared Bowen and they put in a respectable offer, I wouldn't blame Bowen for leaving at all, because I think it's just that step higher. I mean, yes, we will finish higher than Liverpool in a season, or whatever, but Liverpool are always going to outspend us. Liverpool are always going to have a better stadium than us, better better league position, better pedigree. So you cannot blame these players for wanting to move on and make the next step up. At the end of the day, these are people, these are their jobs, these are their careers. Yes, loyalty is of course champion in football, and there are those few who love the club so much that whether they make the step up or don't, they don't really care. So yes, you can have a look at it like that. But in my eyes, I think if Lucas Paqueta wants to leave, as long as he plays his football while he's here and he's not doing anything like pushing a move or refusing to play for us, I see absolutely no reason why it would be a terrible thing for him to move on and make that next step up. Another club that's interested is also PSG. PSG have shown an interest in Lucas Paqueta. We did wonder whether we'd be able to get a deal through for Hugo Ekitike in liaison with the Paqueta deal, but that never happened. I don't believe they put a bid in. I think probably City scared them off. And City put in a very, very decent bid for him, but I think now is not the time to sell. It was late in the window. I don't think we would have had the money to reinvest properly. I think Moyes probably would have spent it on like McTominay or something. But yeah, the way we can look at it, to be honest, is Lucas Paqueta, I think, will leave next summer. That is my gut feeling. He's got an £85 million release clause. So if someone were able to match that, which I think City would do, to be fair, I think they put in a bid higher than that this summer, and we said no. And they've got less rebuilding to do next summer, I think. They've already got the replacement for Mahrez. They've already got Gvardiol, the next centre-back in. They're sorted at striker. They're sorted pretty much everywhere else on the pitch. The only position that maybe they need a bit more cover is probably where Bernardo Silva's going to go, because I think he will leave next summer for them. And obviously, when De Bruyne is injured, they haven't got that creative spark as much. So I think Manchester City will put in and will match that £85 million release clause. If they don't, I don't see us selling him. I think when you've got an £85 million release clause, it sort of puts you in a mindset of, well, yes, we don't want to sell him, but we're kind of being forced to. And I doubt they're going to do anything like renegotiate a new contract. And I doubt Paqueta again would agree to a new contract, simply because he'd be able to make that next step up for him. So I think at the moment you've got PSG, Newcastle, and Manchester City. I don't think Newcastle will get him. I think they'll have to pay through the nose to get him, and I think they're way too smart to blow 70 to 85 million pounds on just one player. I don't think that's the Newcastle strategy. Don't get me wrong, Paqueta is an amazing player, but is he worth that 70, 85 million pounds? Probably not. I think, he's probably a 65 million pound player, 60 million pound player. I think he's absolutely class. I don't want to sell him at all, but realistically, we don't want to sell him. That adds extra extra money onto his price tag. He's still got a long contract with us. He's playing good football. He seems happy to be there. So I don't think Newcastle are going to have the funds to buy him. When it comes to PSG, they might be losing Mbappe. They might be getting some money for him. So they might have some money to play with. Obviously, Paqueta has played in the French league before, so this is a deal I could see happening. And of course, prime candidates for me is Manchester City. Like I say, Mark will be going into more detail about the relationship between Pep and Paqueta, and whether City are going to put a concrete bid in, what is going to happen next summer, or indeed January. This could happen in January, but at the moment, clubs are certainly circling for Lucas Paqueta. The pressure is on for us to be able to keep him. So we'll have to update you when the news comes in. But currently, PSG, Newcastle, City, and potentially more are looking for Paqueta's signature next summer.